Hey everybody, welcome back to the K2N Online Paddle School. We're back here on YouTube, and this week we're talking about slicing the blade into the water, or maybe don't slice your blade into the water. This video coincides with last week's video about not stabbing at the water, right? This is kind of the same idea, but changing the trajectory. This is a pretty common one in certain regional dragon boat team coaching structures, and so you may have never heard of this idea, but it gives a little bit more insight in an incorrect pathing into the water and some of the misconceptions on how that works, and going over what a side catch is and how to really use the side of the paddle to make you go faster. So a side catch is having the side of the blade slice into the water from the side, right? It's almost like you're taking the blade and you're tricking the water to getting from in the air into the middle of your power phase instantaneously. But just like we talked about last week, right? When we have a competent catch, the act of the blade going into the water is a tool that we want to use to propel the boat forward. No matter what you do, the blade is going to go from in the air into the water. If that process can move your vessel forward every time you take a stroke, this is an advantage you have on somebody that doesn't have this mastery over the tool. With the side catch, we're using the side of the blade here to push the blade into the water with no resistance. No resistance means no power. No power means we're not moving the vessel forward, right? So you can already see that we don't necessarily want the blade to go in with no resistance, because that means we're not moving the boat at all. The other issue with this is as you are going through, as you are trying to set up from the side here, there is a high % chance that you don't have time or space to set up your shoulders, to set up your hips, or to even set up positive blade angle. If you try to slice into the water from the side with positive blade angle, it is incredibly tricky. Most people that do this do it like so, and they go right into neutral blade angle. As the blade is going in from the side, we have all of this force that we're using to bring the blade to the side. And that force, in this case, is going from my right to the left. So as we're going through, somewhere at this point, I need to change the trajectory from now moving the blade back towards me to move the vessel forward. So we have all of this momentum going in the wrong direction, because I need this momentum to come front to back in order to make the stroke more competent. So now all of this force that we're using here, I have to come to a stop with my momentum and then change trajectory to come back, right? And so this makes it incredibly tricky, and it just takes a lot of the force out. So instead of starting a punch back here and going straight into it here, I'm gonna start in this direction to come across, then go forward, right? You can see how this pathing doesn't allow my body to move as effectively. It's the same idea by coming from the side, then coming straight back in. We'll see paddlers constantly karate chop the boat, so as the blade goes into the water, they have all this momentum, and there is no resistance on the side of the blade, so it just slices through the water, and boom, they will slap the side of the hull very hard. Ultimately, the biggest gripe that I have with a side catch is it's not real. People train it. They can do it slowly. They can demonstrate it on land in front of a camera, just like I'm doing. But when you see people paddling in a sprint dynamic or paddling with any sense of urgency, they don't physically do this mechanic because it's almost impossible to actually do. What ends up happening is people go from the side in the air, then they line up with the blade right above the water, and then they come straight down into the stroke, just like any traditional stroke. But they add in this extra step here to go through. They don't actually go from the air directly into the water. They line up and all the momentum goes to the side, they stop their momentum, and then they push down just like a normal stroke. So we want to dissect, if they're just going to start the stroke here and go through, why go through all of the extra effort and ideology going to the side? Why not just accentuate the thing that we're actually doing with the stroke? And this is one of the big points of being a coach and analyzing movement in real time, is we have ideologies, but do they translate? Do we actually do them? What do we actually do? What do world champions actually do when they go through the motion? Breaking that down, having drills and ideologies that accentuate that, now it puts you on a pathway for success, right? If you put in something that is almost a fairy tale, an idea that we can't make real and nobody can do it in real life unless it's nice and slow, now we set up people for failure. Keeping things as simple as possible, the more force that you have on this part of the blade, the more the vessel is going to move forward. So anytime that you have pressure on this aspect of the blade, you're moving your vessel forward. If it comes in from the side, do you have pressure on this side of the blade? The answer is no. It's something that you can adjust with something that will move you forward. Keeping it simple gives you an easy checks and balance. When I do stuff, do I get more force on this part of the paddle at any point? The answer is no. It's something that you can always adjust. So I had mentioned, Robert, but you were talking about a side catch. Yes. So what a side catch is using a small percentage of the blade to grab the water. And the reason that we would want to do this is as the paddle is straight up and down, I have to kind of morph my body a little bit to create this angle with the paddle, right? You can see how some of these things are going to extend out. Even if I go like this, my top shoulder has to come forward to reach the handle. If I go through with a side catch, I am going to target the water with this inside part of the blade. Now the shaft is going to be slightly angled in this direction. So I am changing the angle of the shaft. I am changing the first thing that touches the water, so instead of it being all of this surface area, it is now just this corner. But I am able to extend out the stroke and reach further up because my top shoulder is further back. I can create more positive blade angle. This is now more ergonomic for my body's positioning, and now I can target the water with a small percentage of the blade here. As I begin completing the stroke and I push with my top hand and rotate, immediately before half of the blade is even in the water, I have now created this up and down positioning that I really want throughout the power phase, but I'm targeting the water and grabbing a small percentage of it and reaching an area that I couldn't otherwise. If I tried to reach there, I have to get out of position, and this is no good. Keeping my posture, keeping my rotation, now I can utilize a side catch, and then as I go through the rest of the stroke, the paddle is no longer sideways. This is a small, nuanced idea that many high-level racers use to extend out when they touch the water, and even if they touch it with a small percentage of the blade, if they get pressure on this little bit of a corner here and you don't, they now move forward even just an inch times 1,000 strokes, and now you wonder why you can't keep up with them. Prioritizing your body's position and having the tool morph to you now creates what is a real, tangible side catch position. So it's an easy one. Watch your favorite paddler as they're paddling. If you watch them in a straight on shot, very seldom are they gonna have their top hand outside the boat and morphing their body here. Most of the time, the top hand will be somewhere by their head here, and when they go through, this paddle will be angled to the side. The first thing that'll touch the water will usually be some percentage of the blade here. So a reminder, with wing blades and kayak paddles, we have an entire sport that is designed around side catches. The blade is designed in a way to interact with the water with this specific angle. Everything is shaped in this way because a side catch allows you to be in better position as you go through the rest of your stroke. We are taking that ideology and just bringing it to a canoe paddle for the first interaction with the water. So don't slice from the side, get no pressure, and damage your boat. Line up the paddle correctly, use these little ideas to your advantage, and try to find that pressure for longer within the front part of your stroke. Excellent. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. A big shout out to all of our YouTube members here. If you want to join the YouTube membership, it is $2.99 a month. You get to see these videos a little bit early. It is only a small contribution to the channel, but it goes a long way in keeping this channel thriving and growing. Be sure to check out the K2NOnlinePaddleSchool.com today. Work directly with a coach. We have 300 videos, plenty of drill videos that you can go through. We can work remotely using video reviews to make sure that you are learning these ideas. If you would like me to come to your area, if you would like to come to my area and paddle by yourself or in a small group, feel free to reach out anytime. I'm coaching full time and I have all the time in the world to make sure that you're getting better. Thank you all so much for the ongoing support, and we'll see you all next week with the next paddle tip video.